How's it going, everybody? This is Dominic Minchella. I am the Kansas City Chiefs beat writer on SI and the host of the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast. Thank you guys so much for stopping in today as we are now underway with the Kansas City Chiefs training camp. The first practice is set to be held later on today if you're watching this right when it was posted as well. Really an exciting time for the Kansas City Chiefs, their fandom. This is the start of putting the 2024 season behind them as if they haven't already done so. They need everything to work out during this training camp. They need to see what they have on offense, what they have on the offensive line, what they don't have on the offensive line, what they don't have on offense. And that's that's a good little segue into today's topic. What they could potentially not have for a handful of games this season is wide receiver Rashee Rice, and it's not due to a setback in his recovery process from an LCL injury sustained in Week 4 last season against the Los Angeles Chargers. No, it is unfortunately due to the fact that he is likely to be suspended following the recent verdict given down to him from his involvement in the multi-car crash in 2024. Now, as we know, Rashee Rice has been sentenced to 30 days in jail and 5 days probation, as well as, he's given his statement of being remorseful. He's apologetic. He does genuinely feel bad for the reasoning that he gave was causing bodily harm to anybody else and not even just himself. Whether it is a publicity stunt or not, Rashee Rice made the statement the way that he should. But for the Kansas City Chiefs' sake, going into training camp, per Andy Reid, head coach Andy Reid, Rashee Rice is still going to be playing as regularly scheduled programmed. As we know, at the end of mandatory minicamp, head coach Andy Reid, he said that both he being Rashee Rice and Josh Simmons will be ready for training camp, which is now upon us. He even said the day before the 21st, meaning the 20th, he discussed on the fact that, they plan on moving forward as normal. They're planning to progress as normal going forward with Rashee Rice in the offensive scheme for training camp. It's super important, not only for the fact that who knows when the NFL is going to hand down the suspension or how long it's going to be. Whether it is closer to the beginning of the season and it lasts for 8 games, or it happens relatively soon, and he knows the time frame, maybe it's about 3 or 4 games that he gets suspended for. Regardless, with all the what ifs being up in the air, that's the reasoning for the Kansas City Chiefs wanting to move forward with a guy who is a firecracker on offense when he's healthy. We've seen what Rashee Rice could do in his rookie season, getting close to 1,000 receiving yards, scoring multiple touchdowns. And even through the first 4 weeks last season with the Chiefs before he went down to injury, he was on a trajectory of being one of the best wide receivers in the league last year. He had 288 receiving yards in 4 games. While it might not seem like a lot, the way that he was playing, he was averaging more than 10 yards per reception. He was a suitable option for first downs, and he has looked like to be the wide receiver that Patrick Mahomes could target for the foreseeable future. All of that plays into training camp. It is important for not only the Chiefs, but for Rashee Rice. It helps Rice get his mind off of something that he knows is inevitable. At this time, he knows he's going to get suspended. He just doesn't know when and where and how long it will be. Similarly, for the Kansas City Chiefs, the what if factor is something that they can lean on in getting Rashee ready as normal. Because if they were to just sideline him due to the reason the suspension being held over his head like dangling keys to the kingdom, it is important that a guy who's returning from injury gets back onto the field with his teammates. Because who knows, if the suspension happens and the verdict gets reached midway through the season, you're going to need Rashee Rice to help to win early on football games. I don't know if you've taken a look at the Kansas City Chiefs schedule, but they have one of the more difficult first half schedules in the National Football League. They go, not only do they face off against the Los Angeles Chargers to begin their season in hostile territory overseas in Sao Paulo, Brazil, but they also return home the next week to take on the Philadelphia Eagles in their first meeting since their defeat in Super Bowl LIX. You know, Rashee Rice, he was a vital piece to the offense last season. And while he won't necessarily, as at least what we're expecting, he won't be in the an everyday guy because of the suspension and all that. It is important because Rashee Rice will be back this season in one way or another. While it could not be in the beginning portion of the year, perhaps the Chiefs are going to be strong enough to win the early half of their schedule. Then they get Rashee Rice back. Then you've got more winnable games on the latter half of the schedule that you're going to target Rashee Rice and get him into the offensive scheme. It's a different situation than how it was with Hollywood Brown when he returned from injury. He only played 2 games in the regular season last year, and Patrick Mahomes made it clear that it's difficult to get a guy into the offensive game plan who's missed so much time. If Rashee Rice is looking like $1 million during training camp and he's allowed to be there until the verdict gets handed down, by all means, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to utilize it. They're going to mold the offensive game plan, and they're going to teach what they want to do, whether it is Rashee Rice as the main wide receiver, whether they are leaning towards Travis Kelce once again. Even we know that Patrick Mahomes loves targeting Travis Kelce, or if it's Xavier Worthy stepping into the role like he did last season when Rashee Rice went down to injury. All of these things are crucial, and in my opinion, I think it's very smart that the Chiefs are planning to move forward in this way. There is the training camp portion is, in the early portions, that is, brush off some cobwebs, get back into the flow of things, start making some chemistry once again, getting your head cleared from all that happened in the offseason, and with the main goal of getting ready for the regular season. And if Rashee Rice can be available for that, they need to pounce on that. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, be sure you follow me over on X at Dom Minchella, where I post and repost every single day. All coverage for the training camp for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be there. You're not going to want to miss anything. You can also follow us at KC Chiefs on SI over on X, as well as on Facebook, where all of our stories by our wonderful writing staff get published. You're not going to want to miss any breaking stories that happen throughout training camp, leading into the preseason, leading into and throughout the 2025 campaign. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am Dominic Minchella. This is the Kansas City Chiefs Insider Podcast, and I hope I'll see you tomorrow. That being said, be kind to one another, folks.